Alright, welcome to the stream here. We're just starting on this Miles versus Deery 5-lap lobby, 5 races. I think we did a particular order, but we're on quali here just to see the first one, Bahrain, which is a track Miles chose. Miles is, we always knew, I don't know, Bahrain's always been a track Miles is good at, and we saw that as well in NFS. So we'll see what we could put together, or what he could put together. Looks like Deery's in front at the moment, but we'll see the lap times and the sector times, and if anyone's invalidated. Go on board with Miles a bit. Not much to comment, honestly, in the two-person quali here. It's not that much. Ooh, it does go a bit wide there. Looks like Deery still has the slight edge. Not by much, though. We'll see the middle sectors and compare the times. No 5-3. Oh, I couldn't even get Miles. Alright, they're pretty close. It's all down to the back straight. Who's got the quickest setup in the straight line, and who can make that final corner the best. It takes a lot of curb on the exit. On the entry as well. Looks like Deery's going to take pole here, unless Miles has got a way better straight line, but it doesn't look like it. Ooh, Deery's already passed the line. Looks like Miles made a mistake, to be honest, in that middle sector somewhere, to just back him off and get him into P2. Alright, as you guys saw it already, 1 second ahead for Deery. Looks like Deery's already got the advantage here in the first track, and we know that this is a track we said Miles is good at, and he's the one that chose this track, so I expected him to be on top in qualifying, but we'll see what happens in the race, which is all everything, as the lights go out. 1 of 5 lights go out, and it's lights out. Ooh, Deery gets a lot of wheel spin from Deery. A lot of wheel spin from Deery. Miles goes for a slipstream. Looks like Deery's going to lead into turn 1. Ooh, just bump draft into Miles. Trying to get on the gas earlier. Deery gets a lot better of an exit. Already 6/10 ahead up into turn 4. So we'll see what part of the track Miles is a lot better in compared to Deery. Still maintaining that gap, which is good for both drivers. Deery brakes, or Miles brakes a lot later in that corner there. It's a tricky corner right there, especially if you're using no ABS. You're always locking up, regardless of if you make it properly. Brake early, brake late. Regardless, you're locking up. I don't think any of them are using no ABS, so that's a good thing that they're not going to lock up. Oh man, just looks like major understeer from Miles' car. That might be where he lost that 1 second, just struggling in the middle sector. Deery sort of went over trying to break the slipstream here. Deery already 7/10 in lap 1. This is big because this is a track we expect Miles to be on top. He's the one that chose it. Looks like Miles is gaining a lot more in the braking zones, while Deery is gaining a lot more on the exits. Up into turn 4 here, top of the hill. Getting right off the onboard comment. Look, Miles is gaining, actually, you know what? I thought he had a lot of understeer in the middle sector, but it looks like he's gaining quite a bit of time through those S's as he's closed up to Deery a couple tenths here, up into the downhill, the insta lockup corner. But none of them using no ABS, so he gets a beautiful exit, Deery, though, just to get on the power nicely. And he maintains that 5/10 gap, which is going to be extremely important, especially when the DRS comes out. We don't know what these guys are. Let's see if I can get the telemetry on and see how much ERS they're burning. So Miles is burning, oh wow, they actually got quite a bit, like the same. So looks like they're pretty even through the first couple laps. Deery does gain a lot more in that end of the second sector. Yeah, once again, Miles is burning it all down that straight, which is, I don't know if I'd burn that much down the straight. It's, I mean, they're still relatively at the same, but it looks like Deery's still got that advantage up into turn 1. Going to be big because Miles is going to get DRS now, so Miles has got to maintain it. Deery gets a lot of understeer, goes deep into turn 1. Miles is going to get a bit of a better exit here, gets the DRS as well. Deery saving his ERS, feeling confident here. I mean, Miles does have a bit of a ways to get to him and go for a lunge, but he's about 5-6 tenths back still. Ooh, see, major understeer for Miles. He's just fighting the car to get through the corners. And even on the hairpin on the exit, it's just understeer. It looks like he's not got enough rotation in the setup. He does fairly well on the braking zones of the downhill right there. Downhill of turn 10, that's pretty tricky. He is definitely closing up, maintaining that ERS as well. Deery's got about 15% more than Miles, which is going to be crucial for him to defend. But if Miles can keep it close here in this third sector, which he's actually done compared to the last lap where he hasn't, so this is big for Miles here because he's got to get this pass and hope that he's got enough ERS to maintain the gap. So Deery's got still about 15% more. That's going to be big for defense here. I assume Deery's going to use a bit of it. No, he's saving it actually. He's trying to break the toe, which I think Miles is going to get ahead here. He's got the DRS and the ERS burning. Got to get by down the inside. Let's see on the broadcast. Oh, just kind of pushes him off. That was a bit of a touch and go right there. Kind of pushed him wide. He thought he was a lot more ahead than he was, and just pushed him wide into the curb, almost onto the grass there. Just chops him off into the apex as well. Keeps that position. Deery's going to fight it back into turn 5, but he's not going to have the grip and the speed. Gets a definite worse exit. With the dirty air is a lot worse in this middle section of the track. See, look at that. So Deery's about 5 tenths. Look, like I was saying, Miles is gaining a lot more time in the braking zones, while Deery gains it on the exits. Ooh, gets a bit wide, Deery. Deep, about 7 tenths behind. Ooh, wow, Deery's got a major ERS advantage over Miles. He's got about 20%, which is absolutely huge at this track. The straights are so long with the 3 DRS zones as well. And Deery's keeping with them, too, in this third sector, exactly like Miles did on the last lap. And I suspect Miles is going to have to defend real hard. And Deery's extremely close. He might just, yeah, wait it. Gets a bit of a poor exit, but that's, the exit's not everything. Oh yeah, look at that. Just use the ERS he saved up and just breezes by Miles. Miles doesn't even get to defend that because there's no point of defending it. Deery's already 3 tenths ahead into the first corner, just on the straight. That is crazy. And this is the final lap of the race, so it's all or nothing here for Miles. And this looked like the only opportunity here, but Deery's going to burn his ERS just the same as Miles. And it looks like they're both under 10% at the moment. I think this is going to be, if Deery doesn't make a mistake, it looks like Deery's going to be winning this one out, just because this section of the track is extremely hard to close up and maintain that gap while also getting past with the DRS. There's such short DRS straight where you barely get into 8th gear. But we know Miles is strong in this section of the track, so we'll see if he can outbrake him. Takes a nice wide entry and wide exit. But he does get a better exit than Deery, it looks like. But they're both going to be burning their ERS. He's going to make the lunge. He's not going to make the lunge. He's going to try around the outside, just misses it. And he's going to go up the hill all the way up to turn 13. And it looks like Deery's going to be winning this one out. Miles is going to go for an inside line, but it looks like Deery's going to win this out. Miles gets a bundle of oversteer there. Almost bins it on that corner. And at this point, it's just Deery's going to go for a clean exit and hopefully maintain that. But Miles breaks a lot later, but it still looks like Deery gets the better exit. And it looks like Deery's going to be winning this one out. It's going to be 1-0 for Deery in Bahrain, just by 2.5 tenths. And Deery gets a pass lap as well. Not that it makes a difference in these 5 lappers, but it is going to be Deery 1-0 in this first part of the 5-lapper tournament. Alright, next track is one Deery chose, Zandvoort, and we know that before this 5-lapper, we knew that Miles struggled a lot in Zandvoort. He told us, but I mean, who knows? He could be completely opposite and just surprise us all. Alright, round 2, Zandvoort. This is a track Deery chose, so we'll see how he does. Deery won out Miles' track, so that's already a big plus for Deery, just because it seems that he's got the advantage already. Bahrain was a track Miles chose, and so we suspected Miles was going to kill that track, but Deery's also good at Bahrain. So we'll see in Zandvoort if they do any, if it's the same thing or if it's any different. Up into turn 1, we're going to go on board with Deery on this lap. Very tricky lap, one of the ones that a lot of people hate here. Yes, in this game you could take a lot tighter entry of that banking corner as opposed to a real NF1, while they just take it very wide. Miles looks like he's maintaining. A 50.3 in the middle sector. It's not going to show Deery's, is it now? Yeah, Deery looks like he's got a ways ahead of Miles just into the final couple corners. Miles gets a major amount of oversteer just from hitting that curb, and it looks like Deery's going to win out in qualifying once again. Miles is going to cross the line. Deery sets a 1:11. Miles is about 1 point. Ooh, wow, that's luckily it ain't the race, but about 1.3 seconds down for Miles. He's going to have to make it all up in the race. Alright, so this is a track where it's extremely tricky to overtake. It's one of the hardest on the calendar, especially sort of like Monaco, but with the 2 DRS straights, we'll see what happens as the 5 lights go out, and Deery's it looks like he's got the advantage. Same with Bahrain, but Miles actually gets a decent start, only a 10th behind into turn 1. Gonna take a tighter line into turn 1. Deery gets a better exit. It seems that, we'll see as the lap carries on if I'm correct or not, but it seems that Deery's a lot better on the exits, but Miles is a lot better on the braking zones. And Miles is already 7/10ths behind, not even through the first sector yet. As we're on board with Miles here, through the middle section of the track, takes a lot of curb compared to Deery. Playing with the gears a bit. Yeah, he's playing a lot with the gears, trying to get the rotation in the car. Yeah, Deery's just, he's looking so much more confident at this track compared to Miles. Just with the curves, it's so difficult to find the sweet spot on this track. And the ERS especially, I see Miles burning out, but it's extremely important. Especially if you're behind, you want to manage that ERS properly. Deery's at 85, Miles is at 65. He's trying to, obviously Miles is going to try burning it more to try and keep up with Deery, especially being behind, but it's super important just because it's so hard to regain it at this track. Through the the first sector, sorry, middle sector, nope. Definitely through the first sector. Miles about 7.5 behind. Just maintaining that 6 to 8 gap between the entire lap. Oh yeah, it just gets a bundle of understeer. Gets a very, very wide exit on the corner. But he is going to tighten up here to Deery a little bit. But he's just struggling on the exits with touching all those curbs. It's just so difficult. And he's 9/10ths back. He's going to burn the ERS to try and keep up with him, but it's going to be very tough to maintain this gap and try and actually get by him just because of how hard it is. But you never know what could happen. Deery could make a mistake, could get a penalty. It is on strict track limits. You never know what's going to happen, honestly, as Deery gets a bit of a better, or Miles gets, that's going to do it, I think. Miles almost spins on the exit, managed to keep it on track, but he's 2.5 seconds down, and I don't think he's going to be catching up that much. Now it's all up to Deery. If he could just maintain this gap and not make any mistakes, then it looks like he's going to be taking the win here in Zandvoort, and it's looking like he's going to take the 2-0 lead if he doesn't make a mistake. But you never know what could happen, especially at this track. So difficult to be consistent at this track. It looks like they're the exact same pace. In the past 2 races, around the banking would go with Deery, but just from the past 2 races, Bahrain and Zandvoort, we could see that it looks like Deery's got the slight edge in qualifying over Miles, and it looks like the race pace is extremely tight between them. They're both very, very similar in pace, and it looks like we don't even know, like it could be anything. It's basically with the starts, whoever gets the best start, and we saw in both tracks that Miles got a much better launch over Deery, but it's just such a short run down to turn 1, especially in Zandvoort. It's so difficult to overtake into turn 1 if you don't already have track position or side-by-side, as Miles just takes out the brake marker board. Looks like he's really struggling here on the curbs. Just on the track overall is just very difficult, it's seeming. And it looks like Deery, he's got a lot of ERS. Maybe might go for a fastest lap. Then again, they don't really matter, but just to go for it, I guess. Around the banking here. Yeah, Miles is just maintaining that gap as well. So ever since he lost the rear end of the car, he's just maintained that 2.6 second gap from when he almost spun, which is showing that he's got very good race pace, just as Deery, as he goes wide. Just again, 2 laps in a row, just struggling in that corner. Oh, yeah, and there's the spin. Just got no grip from the grass. I think he's going to retire from this one. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, oh yeah, he is. So it looks like Deery's going to win out in Zandvoort. He's going to come across the final corner. He's going to go around the banking here in Zandvoort, and he's going to take the advantage as he crosses the line to make it 2-0. And the pressure is on for Miles now, as Miles needs to win the next 3 races to beat Deery. All right, we're gonna go back to the lobby, and yeah, see, look at the fastest lap, only about a 10th off, but we're gonna go back to the lobby and we're gonna take about a 5 to 10 minute intermission, just because we got some technical difficulties with Deery and his PS4. So we will be back. The stream is gonna be on, just won't be talking, about 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, we are back. Earlier than expected. I thought it would have been 10 minutes like they said, but it's going to be a couple more minutes. A couple minutes less. Let's see it. Let's see whose cheeks are going to be clapped in these final 3 races and who's going to take the checkered flag first to become NFS's 6th addition to the team in the League vs. League race. Alright, this is a track Mgalloway is extremely good at. He said, we know he's been strong here, even in NFS, in the leagues. We knew he was strong. He's going to fully send it, just like Max Verstappen says. Full send. Miles switched his car from the Red Bull to the McLaren this race. Maybe it's something different. We'll see if it changes anything. Deery looks like he's got the advantage up in the first sector. Maybe a little bit more downforce for Deery compared to Miles. We saw Miles had a lot less downforce in the first 2 races. We'll see what happens here as Deery's got a purple first sector. He looks like he's heading up into the castle section now. Cuts the track. It's going to be an invalidation for Deery. And it looks like Miles is going to be taking pole position here unless he makes a major mistake. I'm going to see who's quickest on track at the moment, just to compare the lap times, what we could see for the race. But it looks like Deery's invalidated up into the entry to the castle section, which is extremely tough. It's a corner you want to cut to gain time, but it's also a corner you got to watch because it's so difficult to cut it and not get a track limits as Deery's going to enter the final couple of corners. I don't even know if the next ones are corners. They're called corners, but they're flat out unless it's the rain. He's going to head through these. Let's see the middle sectors in the meantime, just because it won't show us on the screen, but Miles is putting a 40.3. Deery's putting a 40.5, so it looks like they were pretty even, Steven, for the first couple laps, or first couple sectors. Ooh, it looks like Deery actually would have won out, I think, maybe by about a 10th and a bit. We'll see the race director. Hopefully they don't ready up real quick, but I do want to compare their lap times. Looks like he's putting a 40.2 and oh, dang it, I just missed it. I didn't even get to see what Miles's was, actually. Let's see if I can check back on the stream, just to see what I expect. Don't matter. Anyways, Miles is starting on pole with the 5 lights out here in Baku. This is his track. Let's see what he does here. If he can bounce back and beat Deery. Deery gets a much better launch, though. It looks like Deery's already capitalizing, going side by side into turn 1 with Miles, but Miles just breaks that inch bit later. Looks like he's going to hold the position here into turn 2. Round this DRS straight. No DRS yet up until lap 3. We'll see what happens here. Is Deery going to burn his ERS? We'll see with the telemetry. Yeah, he is. You gain a lot. For a track that's mostly straight, you do gain a lot of ERS, typically. So burning isn't a bad thing at this track. Typically you'll gain about 20 to 30% in the middle section of the track. So we'll see what happens here if they're going to burn it. It looks like Miles is going to hold the advantage though up into the first sector. And this is big. Miles has got to win this, because if he doesn't win, that's it. Deery is going to be our 6th driver. Oh, and I think that might just happen because Miles spun. That is tough. That is... Miles is about 1.8 back. It's not over yet. It's not over yet, because there is still 5 long laps. He's just got to find the confidence in this car and in this track. He's got 2.2 to make up. We know Miles can bounce back, just like he did in league races before in NFS. We've got to see what he can do here in Baku. This is one of his better tracks. We see he's just got a lot more grip, though. It looks, I mean, they're both pretty even through the track. It's just Miles has got to find something here to gain time. Miles is about 20% down on ERS though compared to Deery. As long as he can get within DRS, the DRS gains you like 5-6 tenths through the lap, so he's just got to find that 1.1 second gap to try and pass him. Gap is already up to 2.4 here after lap 1 into turn 2 with Deery and Miles. 2.5 second gap. Miles is struggling. He's got to find something here to gain this time. It's just so difficult because Deery through these 5 lappers has just been, he's shown us such consistency. compared to Miles. It seems that the pressure's just gotten to Miles. He's not performing as well as we might have expected, but he is going to come back through this middle sector. He's already gained 4 tenths in one corner. Unless I'm completely wrong, and he's just going to come back here and gain the confidence he needs to beat Deery. But just in the corners he's been taking, Deery's just been showing he's got a lot of, maybe a little bit more downforce, but a lot more confidence. And it's all in the car here. We saw Miles was struggling a bit before the race, thinking that he wouldn't be capable of beating Deery. But we see him now on this lap so far, already 6.5 tenths up on Deery's time through the last section of the track. Unless Miles is burning a lot more ERS, he is down about 35% to 40% compared to Deery. But like I said, that doesn't matter because he's just got to get in the DRS, and that's the biggest thing. Miles does beat him by about 4.5, 5 tenths on that lap. It's not going to be close enough for DRS though, and Deery has the advantage with the ERS as well, so it's going to be definitely tough. It's about a 35% gap for the ERS. Deery holding the advantage. Miles is trying his best to catch up to Deery, but they're so evenly paced in the race, it's just so hard to do that. Zombo with Deery here. Let's see through this castle section. Miles looks like he's got a little bit more confidence through that castle section compared to Deery. Deery looks like he's been struggling on the entry and exit. Miles is going to gain a bit of time here. 1.8 is the gap now. Not as much he's going to need for the DRS though. Gets a bit of a worse exit than Deery. Deery, like I said, he's got a lot more downforce, I think. Just more confidence in the car because he's getting those beautiful exits that he needs just to stay ahead of Miles. And Miles is already down to no ERS. Look at him, he's already down to 0% ERS. Deery's at 40% ERS, so this is it's going to be difficult for Miles to catch up. If Miles or if Deery makes a mistake, that's the only hope Miles has. Oh, looks like he's lagging as well a bit. 2.4. Yeah, Deery just hitting the apexes nicely. Miles does get a decently good exit there. We'll see in this section how he does on board. Goes very deep. Yeah, he's got to gain a little bit of time. Actually, he gains it on the entry, like I said, with the break-in, but he loses it on the exit. And this turn, he's going to go very deep. He outbrakes himself a lot. As a driver, you got to remember that exits are more important than entries. And Miles is going to pick up 2-second penalty, and I think that's going to do it here, folks. It's not looking like he's going to gain 5 seconds, and I think he's backed off. Yeah, it looks like he's backed off, and yeah, leaves the session with frustration. That's definitely unfortunate for Miles. You know, you got to feel for him. He definitely had the pace. He's definitely got pace on these tracks. Just, I guess the pressure is just getting to him. But that's going to conclude this 5-lap tournament a little bit earlier than expected. Deery's going to take a 3-0 to Miles and win the 3 races he needs to become the 6th driver in RFS for our League vs. League. Miles is going to become the 7th, which is a reserve. So we still got a chance at racing if someone doesn't show up. So we'll see what happens with that. But all we know is that Miles was not able to perform as well as he might have expected, or as well as he thought he would have. But we definitely know they both have the exact same race pace. But it looks like Deery's just going to hold it out here. Anyways, that's going to conclude this little stream, I guess. Not really much, but looks like that's going to be it. And Deery's going to take it here in Baku and win out for our 6th driver. Just to conclude, I think our 6 drivers are going to be it's going to be Dunk, Hughes, Buck Graham, Deery, and then myself as the 6th, and Maz is going to be our 7th as a reserve. So race is going to be on Saturday. It's going to be Britain, full quality, 50% race, so stay tuned to that. It's going to be 3 leagues, so 6, 6, 6 from each league. As Deery just makes the wall, but it doesn't even matter now. But anyways, it's going to be 6v6 v6, and looking forward to seeing everyone there. So stay tuned for that. And as Deery's going to take the checkered flag here in Baku, goes down the straight, burns the rest of his ERS, and take the checkered flag to win it 3-0. And that's going to conclude the stream. So that's going to be it. Have a good night, I guess, everyone.